All right, guys, today's message is coming right out of a chapter of KRS One's song, okay? You Must Learn. You know, there's going to be certain times that we look at life and we are not conscious of certain things that are occurring, you know? And, you know, we're here to learn. Like I said, this is a platform. Life is a platform. Life is a college, and we're learning based upon the experiences that God is allowing to come our way. You know, I remember when I first mentioned, or I should say, I was speaking about the word karma to a group of students. And while speaking of it, you know, the students, you know, they took it in. But I want to say by the end of the week, when we came back to revisit, and we came, you know, we had this open forum, and we were able to, you know, we closed the door and just basically let them get everything out of their systems. A lot of the students were saying, you know, that they didn't like that word. They didn't like karma because it seemed as though that was the worst week of their lives. And I said, well, you've got plenty more time to actually experience this, you know. But it was, one of the girls said that she was a part of a group, and with this group, she didn't realize how much pain she had inflicted upon other people until she knew the word. And knowing the word and being able to make the necessary connections, she was realizing that she was more of a bully than she'd ever imagined. And sometimes we're not aware of things. And it's almost like your mother might teach you certain things growing up. Like, let's say she might teach you how to wash your face, okay? And she teaches you this, but how many children did not have parents that could teach them how to wash their face? Perhaps their parents went away to work and never took that time to teach them. We assume that everyone knows certain things, but everyone does not know. You know, there was this woman that came on was it TikTok? She was on YouTube, and she was saying how many people don't oil their bodies in the morning. And some people say, oh, nobody's going to see it, but there's certain times where people will see it. Like, perfect example, you go to the airport, you have to take your shoes off, and you don't have socks on, but you didn't oil your body, so now your feet and your legs are exposed, and people are like, oh my goodness, they don't know what oil or lotion looks like. Sometimes we find ourselves embarrassed by things like that because we did not take the necessary time. We have time to spend, to give to other people. If we're not investing the time in ourselves, we are not going to be able to be better balanced. You know, you say you love yourself. How do you love yourself? Some people say they love themselves and they get their nails done, and they don't even get their children taken care of. The children don't even have a proper pair of shoes on. The children are not dressed properly. So they say, well, what are you doing? You just taking care of yourself? What about your kids, you know? And people look at that. It's a reflection on how you really feel. You know, if a guy is going to date you and he sees that you're dressed really nicely, you take good care of yourself, but your children aren't taking care of, what message are you sending? You know, this is not to make anyone feel bad or anything. This is just to give examples of certain things that we sometimes do, you know. Karmically speaking, if you're not investing the time in people who are important, then what happens to those people? Do they feel slighted? You know, sometimes you give your all to people and they take you for granted. And then when you pull back, they get offended again. But they did not take you, you know, seriously when you were in their presence. They didn't care. They might have made you feel uncomfortable. Maybe they made you feel as though you were a pebble on the ground, you know. There's always going to be different experiences that are teaching moments, telling moments that really help us to say, you know what, how am I going to see myself through this? When we have that conversation with God, and we say, you know, God, this is what happened. You know the whole story, but God knows the whole story. But you're repeating it back to him the way that you saw it. And you say, God, if you could just help me fix this problem. There's so many people that go to God and they plead their own cases. And they say, God, can you help me? You know, it's a very humbling thing when you can do that. Not everybody feels comfortable doing that. Not everybody feels comfortable even looking in the mirror. When you see yourself in the mirror and you say, I love you to yourself, what does that do? Does it make you feel good? It's supposed to make you feel better. It's supposed to help you. It's supposed to elevate you, because you're looking at yourself. How many of you look at yourselves in the mirror? Some people don't even look at themselves in the mirror because they are not happy with what they see. Sometimes they're not happy with what they see because they did so many things to other people. And now it's time to pay back for what you did. Karmically speaking, if you do something to someone else, it's going to come back. So you have to have the better intentions. Do I want best for my neighbor? If I want what's good for my neighbor, then maybe something good will come back to you. Some people, a lot of people, choose to do different things. And when you're hurting another individual, that hurt, that pain, all that comes back. I was reminded of a person recently who sometimes goes to people's homes and he might be invited to a meal, but he's not going to engage in that meal if he sees your hands are dirty or that you didn't even wash your hands while preparing that meal, and that is his own prerogative. But there's a lot of people who don't really see it as being an important thing, or they didn't before COVID. COVID came in and a lot of people are more conscious of washing their hands, but there's still some people who do not. I was in a ladies' room the other day and somebody went in, used the bathroom and ran out. Never even washed their hands. Now these are people who work with public. So, let's be more conscious and more cautious about that one. Because the last thing you want is someone taking care of your food and they've not washed their hands, All of us are going to make mistakes along the way. Nobody's perfect. All of us are trying or striving to, I hope, be a better version of ourselves. But while we are going to be making mistakes here and there, it is important that we say, let me take certain things to God. If you take it to God and you have that discussion, you will be better off. It's important that we check in, so to speak, because while I said no one is perfect, but it's important that we realize that even if our parents did not take the time to teach us certain things, Google is a lot of people's boyfriend and girlfriend because, they reach to Google for a lot of different things, I recently reached to Google to improve my chess game, after the computer beat my pants off, But the good thing is that, because I won a game and I thought I was really, pretty good, and it went to my head. So the computer, one thing about what the computer does is it checks you. It'll play, it'll look at your weaknesses and help you to make them strengths, The main point, if you didn't hear anything else that I said here today, is that you need to make sure that you're conscious of how you're treating other people in your surroundings. There's always going to be a lot of haters, who play on different people's, minds, or they decide they want to say negative things about a person. And sometimes they say that you must be doing something right when you have so many haters. But in most cases, when you have haters, you have people who are speaking against you, you are sometimes their karma. You are the person who is teaching other people as well as you're learning from them as well. We are not all perfect and we are all going through different experiences, but we are definitely learning from each other. So remember that. Nobody is really your enemy. Everyone is your teacher. We're all living this experience in life trying to get to wherever it is that we're going. But at the same time, these lessons are going to have to be met. They're going to have to happen to improve us, okay? All of us are going to be subject to it. So karmically speaking, let us always remember that. And always remember that you are loved and that it is so lovely being you. Thank you for joining us.